Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen Podcast. Today, as you've seen from the title, I'm going to talk about standing out. You know, this this conversation is derived from, this topic is derived from a conversation I had where um we were discussing it's cool to not be cool. And, I've said it periodically, that I had a big homie once tell me when I was 12 that, the best way of fitting in is to stand out, to be yourself. And when I really just look back over the podcast and shit, like I never had an episode on that one topic. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I mentioned it so much that you would think that I would have put an episode to it, but alas, I didn't. So I want to go over it, and talk about it today because it's like when I look at, there's a lot of people that I talk to on a spiritual side, and they have difficulty being themselves. They have gotten, I ain't gonna say they, because we as a collective have gotten this way. It's like I'm not far removed from, being comfortable being myself. Like I said, I've only been myself for 6 years. Like been who I really am for like 6 years. But it causes a lot of people, because we fit into a societal mode that we have to be a certain thing, do a certain, live a certain life and act a certain way, behave in a certain tendency for, what's approved and what appeases other people, and it's really vicious now. I feel sorry for the kids growing up now because they got cancel culture and shit. They can't do shit. You can't say shit. You can't blink wrong. You can't do nothing. You feel me? But when I consider some of the people that I've spoken to and some of the things that they said that they want to do, like, I really want to be myself. I want to, quote unquote, tap in. I want to really, lock in and make sure that, I want to just, sometimes I just want to unplug from all of this shit. And it's like people have gotten so tied up into not being themselves that all they want to do is run away. Just give up everything, like quit doing everything that they're doing. But it's like at the same time, our livelihoods have been wrapped around us, fitting in, being what the world needed us to be, being what our family needed us to be, being what a friend, not even a friend, needs to be, because it's like our friendships are kind of facades as well, because it's like we become friendly with motherfuckers who, fit a certain mold that we envision for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like I'm not going to say it's a challenge. No, I am going to say it's a challenge because there's moments I even still struggle now, where where I stay isolated a lot, but I've always stayed isolated as a kid, but it's even more so now because it's like finding soul tribe is different. Finding your soul tribe is far more fruitful than finding friends. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we don't really get taught when we're young because we try to find friends. And that's kind of like going to segue into all of this because your soul tribe is the people that are more closely related to your soul, and your friends are more closely related to who you're becoming and what you're molding yourself into. And these two things don't necessarily go hand in hand. And so, like I said, the theme of it all is like, it's all of this derived from, conversation where the topic was, it's cool not to be cool. Because, what I mean, to be cool is to be common. And nobody wants to be original anymore. Because when you're common, you can fit the mold, but you don't stand out much. You're not, common is cool for the most part when it's like, okay, time to not be bold, not be daring, to hide away. It's good to be common. It's easy to hide away when you're common because nobody sees you. You feel me? It's camouflage. But it's hard to hide when you're original, when you're standing out, which also puts into a different perspective. it makes things harder because now you can't hide. In a world where we want to hide away, we want to run away, as an individual, we can't, you know? And so I want to talk about that because even though something, even though something has developed as a child in childhood and whatnot, we're adults and we still feel this way. So let's have an adult conversation about it. But before we dive into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Just Sing Podcast. Almost forgot what the title was. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Just Sing Podcast. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, sponsor, and donate to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you so much. To all those who would like to tip, donate, sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Cash App and PayPal is just fine. That's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into standing out, the best way to fit in. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the Soul series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. And a lot of this episode is going to be like, kind of revealing of why the episodes flow this way. I'm going to start off with this and then we're going to get heavy into it. Like, I remember I was having somebody listen to my podcast, whatnot, and they were telling me, yo, you say a lot. Bitch, so does the point get across? The fuck? Like, do you catch what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you be but you say a lot, okay? I say now what? You feel what I'm saying? The reason why I'm mentioning that, and because I got tongue tied at the end, and it was like, I've had people say, yo, you don't cut stuff out. These are raw, fluid, one take shots. I hit record and I go. And it's a part of that is because it's my way of standing out. You feel what I mean? It's my way of standing out by being me. I'm a human. I fuck up. I don't have the right words all the time. The right word doesn't always come to me. It's like perfectionism and being in the realm where you have to appease the people. It's like, it makes you feel like you have to do certain things. So the reason why I'm bringing that part up is because, just as the intro was going out and shit, I was like, I said, click, clack, something I said, but I don't cut my takes out. You feel me? I never cut anything out. I just, do the mixing and all of that shit to bring it back into, the next episode. The next, segment. But that was an interesting point because when I was speaking to that person about, yo, you say a lot. Everybody says When you are trying to think of something, is just, it fits, right? But it's crazy because is such a commonality between all people, but yet people want to point out the similarities that all people have, but then they want to make it a vice at the same time. And I'm segueing that because this leverages off of the point that I made about being cool is common. You feel me? To be cool is to be common. So if we are truly common and stuff, it's like, what are the taboo things of the commonalities? You feel me? What are the taboo things of the commonalities? What things are, okay, this is going to be societally approved. This is going to be rejected. You feel what I mean? But at the same time, when you're battling that, so much, what's approved and what's approved, what's rejected, what's accepted, what's not. Where do you fit? Because all of that has to fit into what develops you into who you become, not who you are. You feel what I mean? Who you are can't fit into a mold because it's like every individual is not going to fit into the common system. That's why we're people. That's why we're individuals. You feel me? But when we limit ourselves to believing that we have to do what everybody else does, for that person, it was, them thinking, oh, if somebody speaks, they can't mess up. I mean, yeah, if you prepare a speech, if you, write down and you're reading verbatim everything you're saying, this is off the head. There is nothing to rehearse. There's nothing to practice. So if I draw a blank, I draw a blank. What I'm gonna do? Stop and just not say nothing, or what I mean? There's certain critiques that they put on you as a person with all things that you do, if the norm or if the commonality doesn't approve of it. You feel what I mean? Walk with me for a second real quick. Walk with me, right? When we're kids, right? When we're kids, we're taught to find friends. I'm bringing it back from the intro, whatever the case might be, but we're taught to make friends. It's like, how do you become a friend with somebody? As a kid, we're already programmed. See, we have to get older to realize what the fuck a friend really is. You know what I'm saying? We were like, yo, why did you outgrow your friends? No, you never really outgrow your friends. It's that the commonalities that connected you two aren't the same anymore. They found their own commonalities, which led them to other friends. You feel what I'm saying? Which led them to other situations and dynamics that don't play out the same way. Like, I have woke friends, I have religious friends, I have entrepreneur friends, I have employee friends, I have different friends for different niches or different capacities of the extensions of who I am. You feel me? Sometimes when we find those friends that are, when we make those friends that they tell us to make, we stay into a certain bubble. You feel me? A certain bucket that, okay, I got to stay here. Because in addition to finding friends, this is where I get to be comfortable being common, being this particular commonality. You feel me? I'm going to get to standing out being the best way to fit in, but we got to flow for a second. You feel me? We get to that commonality and we find that safety in that commonality where we don't have to run and we don't have to hide. So it becomes a fine line. Like, did you find your soul tribe or did you find comfort? You feel me? And the reason why I'm asking, did you find your soul tribe or did you find comfort? Because are you growing as a person? You feel what I mean? Are you growing as a person with your friendship, with the friendship that you're developing? Right? So as kids, we're taught just to find friends. But our friendships are based off of what? What we find common. You feel me? What we find common with each other. So it's like, oh, you like Pokemon? I like Pokemon too. You my friend. You feel me? And what I love about kids though, is when you no longer common with them, when you ain't got no nothing, they'll let you know you ain't my friend no more. I ain't your friend. When whatever commonality connected y'all is completely severed and is separated, they'll let you know you ain't my friend. I ain't your friend. And we hear it as a kid and we don't know the depths of it and shit. That shit used to cut. You feel me? To say it and to hear it. If a motherfucker say, I ain't your friend no more. You feel me? It cuts even more as an adult. How many of us in our older ages have literally came to terms with the fact that, yo, this motherfucker ain't my friend no more, but you ain't tell him. You ain't tell him as fluidly as you would have when you was a kid. You know why? Because it's too much commonality. Because the older we get, the more we bring certain things on into our being as we, become whatever it is that we think we're becoming. And our friends are connected to that, And so it's like, damn, we have a lot more in common, right? Rather than we're comfortable being around each other. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't really truly experience this shit until I was in college. And my closest friends, we don't have really anything in common. Except me and my homegirl, like we're both forensic biologists and shit. We majored in the same shit. But other than that, the commonalities, like I realized that we were friends when certain like it certain shit overlapped, but it didn't intersect. Here's what I mean by that. I had one homeboy. Okay, so the homie that was the forensic scientist with me, you feel me? She also ran cross country, right? So my other homeboy, he ran cross country too. Me and my homie Reed, she didn't run cross country. We chill, but we had intersecting overlaps. You know, me and Reed was more so grew up in city environment. She grew up in the north. I grew up on the west coast, whatever case may be. We grew up city environment, right? The other two kind of grew up more southern, in that aspect. But we all came together nonetheless. But when I started to realize one day we were just chilling, and then we had moments where me and Reed would drink, but the other two didn't. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like the mixing pot was so different that we didn't have many commonalities collectively that we could all say, okay, man, we fuck with each other and we move as a unit. We move as one. But when it came back to it, we were all our authentic selves, and that's where our commonality was shared. We were comfortable being who we fully were around each other. And that was one of the things I was like, all right, y'all my soul tribe. I mean, I ain't know shit about soul tribes then, but I'm starting to understand now when I look back, it's like that was soul tribe. And I'm saying that because in that same token, being in college, like I had people that were in pockets of friendship of as far as we fuck with each other because this is common. So it's like when I look at the dynamic of the friendships that I once had, friendships that I have now, what has developed, it's like when I don't have to stay in a bubble, I can truly say that that's my friend. When I'm able to not be common around them. You feel me? And it's a fine line between being common and not being common because it's like, you know, once you align with something, you stay there. If you are not truly aligning with it because it is an extension of you. You feel what I mean? That becomes hard to do when you never knew who you were, when you never known what you were or how you were as a person, but you knew what you become because of the commonalities that made you feel safe, where you feel like you didn't have to run away no more. You feel me? That's something that I see happening, or I see has happened to a lot of people. A lot of adults now kind of want to run away. Kind of want to run away. That shit was a tongue twister, and it wasn't a tongue twister. What the fuck? You feel me? But people want to run away that they can't. So rather than run away, you find solace, you find peace. And one thing that I've learned about this is kind of segueing in, and it connects to it somehow. But one thing I learned about trauma is that it makes it regress to a childlike state. You know what I'm saying? Physical, mental, spiritual traumas make us regress to a childlike state and do what children would naturally do in certain situations and shit. But it's determined, like how we overcome it is determined and factored into how our inner child was developed and how our inner child was established. So a lot of our inner children is derived off of commonality. So the reason why I'm saying you regress to a childlike state, because even on a physical aspect, when you're hurt and you're in pain and excruciating pain, you fall into the fetal position. You feel me? So that's just the physical aspect. So we don't contemplate that there's a mental fetal position we fall into or a spiritual fetal position we fall into when we get hurt, right? And a part of that, acknowledging those things, is knowing when things send us into the fetal position, what things do we have in common can we move with that will keep us from being there, that keep us being safe? You feel me? Being a child is difficult in the sense that you know on the inner core who you really are, who you need to be, but you have to be whatever, you have to behave the way everybody is going to look at you a certain way. So your behaviors are going to dictate what you find common, what you find your commonalities with. You feel what I'm saying? One thing that is bittersweet, I love and hate it about psychology is that the focus is behavior. The focus is not really the mind, which is a mind fuck because the discipline and the study is psychology, study of the mind. That's what it's supposed to be. The mind study, but you don't study the mind, you study behavior, which is action, which is the physical. You're studying basically, quote unquote, the body. You're not studying the mind, you're studying the body and how the body responds to certain things. So behaviors, what triggers a certain behavior? Behaviors are so interwoven into our unconscious mind that the behaviors that we exude and we find comfort in are based off of our commonalities. You dig what I'm saying? You walking with me? You walking with me? Like, and if your behavior conflicts with who you are, you feel what I mean? You wear a mask all your life. And the mask that you put on, the mask that we put on is the mask that we have to use to enter the common grounds of other shit. Like, the in crowd, the popular kids, all of these different things, everything has a clique, everything has a niche, everything has something that you have to put your mask on to go get. It's crazy how we're in the year 2021. COVID kicked off. Everybody was wearing masks, but at the same time, the veil was lifted and the mask came off. True mask really came off. People realize that commonalities don't work anymore. People realize the only thing that's sustaining their sanity is being authentic. And it's hard to be authentic when you've been image all your life. Like I say all the time, well, not all the time, because I don't think I've ever heard me say it. Like, everybody's fake to an extent. Everybody, myself included, everybody's fake to an extent, because you have to put on a mask to conform into the norm, into the commonality of what you're involving yourself with. You feel me? So in the grand scheme of things, what is the basis of what led us to be this way? You feel me? It's like they tell you, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? Ask your children. Like, when you ask yourself that question, when you were asked what you wanted to be when you grow up, what was your answer? Like, just sit and think about it. Some people, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a teacher. I want to be this. I want to be that. How many motherfuckers have ever said, I want to be myself? How many motherfuckers have ever been encouraged to grow up to be themselves? None. Because we get taught to fulfill a need that we don't create. Or we get taught to, I'm going to say it like this. We get taught to fulfill a need that is not aligned with our purpose. We're fulfilling somebody else's need. You feel me? That's a tough cookie. That's a tough pill to swallow. Those are hard shoes to fill, because that ain't your mission for life. The creator, God, Allah, Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Yeshua, whatever it is, respectfully, they didn't, you really think you were put here to do somebody else's mission? You feel me? And yet we do other people's missions better than ours, their purposes. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, I got a good job. You feel me? I got promoted here. I got to do these things and shit. It's like, but what are you doing that's aligned with your mission? What is your mission? Because who are you? You feel me? Who are you? Or who have you become? We're in a collapse. Like, the Aquarian age, people think, oh, this is mystical shit, and people just, nah, the Aquarian age is real, bro. Piscean age is dead. Like, Piscean age, ironically, the Piscean age was the mark of all religious tenets 2,000 years ago. Go figure. But that was the mark of the Piscean age. We're no longer in the Piscean age. So the thought process of belief is not real. You have to know, right? And one of the biggest things to know is yourself. How you know yourself if you get lost in a pool of shit? You feel me? It's a fucked up metaphor I'm about to use, but it works. You feel me? Bears eat salmon easier than they eat schools of fish. You feel me? Relatively. Because salmon swim against the flow. Salmon stand out. I know I'm not trying to hype you up to go get eaten or no shit like that, or saying, oh, standing out is destructive. No. Going against the grain has challenges and obstacles that the commonalities will never see. Standing out solidifies you outside of everything else. Makes you the motherfucker of the motherfuckers. You feel me? For dramatic effects. You feel me? But We all want to be caught up in a school of fish. We want to belong to the school of fish. But now, sticking with the metaphor of getting eaten and shit, the salmon gets eaten by the bear, because it goes against the grain or whatever the case may be. But there are times when the salmon just hops up, slaps the bear in the face, say, "Gotcha, bitch," and hop back in the water and swims against the grain. You feel what I'm saying? But schools of fish, they get eaten all at once. Like, you ever seen a whale just inhale? Like, well, I can't really say they inhale because they underwater. So they swallow what? But whatever. I'm gonna use inhale just for it. You ever seen whales inhale krill? Just all of them. It's like, yo, y'all gonna swim together, bitch? Munchies, all of y'all at one time. You feel me? When you see that, it's not much originality in that because it's a school. You feel me? School of fish is all the same. So when we look at the way in which we're molded into ourselves, it's like we're molded to become what fits. Like, that's why that phrase where they say, show me your closest friends and I'll show you who you're gonna be. That's like an entendre almost, because it's like that has depths and layers to it. Because are you guys like that because that's who you guys are? Or does the commonality just make y'all all do the same shit? You feel me? Are y'all really, because that was something I really looked at when I was young. I was one of the standout people. Because like I said, when a big homie told me that when I was 12, like, I literally internalized that shit. I stopped being ashamed of the shit that I was doing, because I was like, I grew up with gangsters and shit, and you feel me? I had Pokemon. Like, I would walk around, neighborhood with a deck of Pokemon cards in my pocket. You feel me? Play basketball, scrap out and fight. Still got like jump like, yo, you got your Pokemon. Yeah, I would go trade my Pokemon cards and then go do some other shit. You feel me? So I had internalized that, yo, it's cool to be you. You feel me? It's cool to be you, you know, but well, it's cooler to be you. It's cool to be common, but it's even cooler to be you. And I would get wrapped up in, what are people gonna think about me? Or like, once I learned to stand out, I stopped giving a fuck, because that really made motherfuckers fuck with me more. Which was weird, because I'm like, how y'all fuck with the motherfucker that don't fuck with nobody? And that's why, because that's the motherfucker that don't fuck with nobody. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody, when you fit into a commonality, it's like now that's when it becomes a little bit more tricky, because within the commonality, you still have to be the motherfucker that, you feel me? You still got to assert your position in that space. So I was saying that tying into the fact when I was young with my homies and shit, like, I ain't gonna say the leader of the clique, but I was the one that they kind of looked to for which way we gonna move. Bitch, we all like, the fuck, y'all move how y'all move, like, whatever. You feel me? But I started to see a pattern of certain things with the homies and shit. Like, if I pulled a chick or whatever, it's because I wanted her. But my homies would be like, they'll show me a picture of that girl, or like, she bad, ain't she? Would you talk to her? Don't matter if I would talk to her. That's your girl. Like, what the fuck? So, and then like little subtle shit that will also happen. Like, I remember one of my homeboys, I got a haircut a certain way because I was like, yo, I want my cut like this. You feel me? And I remember him getting his haircut the same way. I was like, the fuck was that for? And at first I used to think, oh, it was a competition thing, but nah, it's a commonality thing. When you find a pocket of something that fits a commonality, like our commonality at the time was, you know what I'm saying, we related to each other off the strength that, we lived in the same neighborhood. You feel me? And that was it. We lived around the corner from each other. Like, we was friends. Like, that was our common ground. But we developed our friendship and shit over time. And then, we would fight. And that was about it. So we was friends, we would fight, and we would get girls and shit. Then after that, it started getting money, and then, other things like that. But it was just a commonality. It was a commonality, but no relatability. Because to be relatable, we would have had to first known who the fuck we were. You feel me? I'm not saying I knew who I was back then, but Like I didn't know who I was in depth because I was still trying to figure shit out, but I was still at a point where I was willing to stand out. Like that energy was always within me. And then once I heard it and a big homie said it, kind of reaffirmed it and I just stuck with it, right? So it was like I never like pocketed any clicks, but I could fuck with a click. Like I never hung with people, but I hung with people. And like, you feel what I'm saying? And it would be like, you know, I can go and kick it with the athletes, but then play sports. I can go kick it with the gangsters and shit, but never really gangbang. I can go kick it with, you know, whoever, the anime guy. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and people are like, yo, how do you fit everything? You know, to give you monikers and shit. Oh, it's eclectic, you know, or you're just, you know, different. And then one of the words that pisses me off that I hate so much to hear is the word weird. I hate that. Don't call people fucking weird, bro. Stop. We gotta stop calling people weird because the weird people are actually normal. You dig what I mean? Like the weird people were the normal people. I'm seeing now. You feel me? But the mind got fucked up in the sense of I don't fit here. And like think about this. I mean, this is not a topic that I should discuss on this platform because you know this isn't our culture mainly. But when you think about and it's a very touchy subject, but it's a reality. When you think about school shootings, when a motherfucker comes and shoots the school, he shoots a commonality. Certain motherfuckers have done him a certain way. You feel me? Like certain people get spared. You feel what I'm saying? But there's a certain stigma, there's a certain point of a commonality that this person has accepted that has done something to them and they respond a certain way. You feel me? And I'm only saying that because it's like that motherfucker knew who they were. They was a killer. You know, it's like, yo, fuck it. You guys want to see who I am? I'm gonna show you. You feel me? But that has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on. But I'm just speaking on how the attack happens and it hits a common group. Like they literally have targets. Like they know who they're gonna hit. And it's like, yo, these people have done this to me because these people are a certain way. Taking it a step further. Motherfuckers who become cops. You feel me? The commonality is the motherfuckers that picked on them when they were younger or whatever the case may be. It's a lot of motherfuckers that, oh, I got some muscles now. I got this. Now I can talk tough because I have a gun. I got a badge. I'm protected by this, that, and the third. When they couldn't do it when they were a kid. You feel me? So now they're against a certain commonality. You feel me? All of this shit is derived from the fact that as we develop as children, like we're not able to be individuals. We're able to just be pieces of, we don't know what we're pieces of. So it's like when you find those people that are just like, you know, they can't sit within that commonality. It's like they're often problem children. It's two dynamics to it. They're either problem children or highly intelligent. And neither one of those are good for a common ground. Neither one of those are good for the commonality of societal structure. You feel me? So they tell you have behavior problems. Do I really have behavior problems? This just made me think, does a motherfucker really have behavior problems or are they uncommon? Are they the rarity that you don't know how to tame? Are they the rarity that you don't know how to control? Are they the rarity that is unbound, that has a mission that is unique to them and they found it and they know it and they don't want to let it go? Because what is a behavior? Because what sets the behavior? Like we look at behaviors as a collective thing, but behaviors can be conditional. They can be relative to the person. You feel me? Well, one person could be ADHD where it's like, okay, this person can't focus. You can't focus. And it's like, am I unable to focus? Or are you boring? No, I'm not boring. You're just unfocused because you're a child. Forgetting the fact that, yo, your commonality is off. You're dealing with the uncommon being, the uncommon child, the uncommon perspective. And in dealing with that uncommonality, you don't know how to respond. And in dealing with that uncommon, being the uncommon, I don't know how to behave. The fuck is behavior? It's conformity. You feel me? So when you have those, the cool kids, the people that are, like I said, the commonality, like it's cool to be cool. You feel me? Those are the people who set the standard for, quote unquote popularity, the culture, what's in, what trends and shit like that. But they don't do shit beyond, they don't do shit to elevate the cultures. They don't do shit to elevate the people. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like they'll set tones and shit and call a motherfucker corny. You feel me? And then calling motherfucker corny and saying they did corny shit, it's like, yo, that doesn't sit within what I find commonality that I don't define as corny. But you can be corny and be cool. You got to be cool with that sometimes. You feel me? You got to be cool with being corny. I don't think, and that's one of the things is like, because there's levels to the shit. In order to be cool to be corny, that means you have to be cool being yourself. And just accept that sometimes you do corny shit. Everybody does corny shit. Even the quote unquote cool motherfuckers, everybody does some corny shit. But it's like, when do you internalize it? And then when do you stop trying to do it? Because it's like, if you do some corny shit as a function of who the hell you are, you got a corny aspect to you. It's okay. It's okay. It's cool to not be cool all the time. It's good. But that's where the mentality comes in, because now that puts extra pressure on us because we always have to wear the mask. I always got to be this. I can never take a day off. I have to be this. Like, when do you decide I'm going to be me and do what I need to do for myself? Because where's the line? Because now it's like a lot of times the conflicts between all that you have accomplished to become and all that you really are. What happens when those two things don't align and you realize it? It's like, how the fuck I get out of here? I can't run away anymore. I can't run into the next commonality. I can't fall into the fetal position. I don't think we understand how deep that really runs. Really sit and ask yourself, in everything that you do, your job, your school, like everything, are you really who you are? Like, are you? Or are you what you need to be? Are you the behavior you have to be in order to receive a certain reward, get a certain result? You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, this connects into cancel culture because these motherfuckers, these new motherfuckers is new motherfuckers, bro. Like, their commonality is to be offended by everything. You feel me? And I get it. Growing up, you hear, oh yeah, you got to have a tough skin. It ain't really that you got to have a tough skin, but you have to have an understanding of yourself. Tough skin isn't needed because nobody can tell you about you. Nobody should be able to. But when we sit into the commonality, people can, this is who you are. Like, when it comes to motherfucking astrology, like, goddamn, we can talk about that because we older and shit. Motherfuckers be like, yo, I don't date this particular sign because they all know they don't. Your experience with that sign caused this to happen. People don't want to take accountability or responsibility for the realities that have played out in their own life as an extension of who the fuck they are. Nobody really takes that into consideration. Like motherfuckers be like, yeah, this motherfucker was a fuck boy. This motherfucker was a bum bitch. Like, these motherfuckers, they did me dirty. Like, how did you get, where was the commonality in you to where you can relate to them? You feel me? Like, when we really put it, like nobody should be fucking with these type of people, but it's like, we're behavior based. We're not being based. We don't know how somebody bees. We don't know how people be. We know how they behave. And we find the behaviors that we can tolerate, that are tolerable to us. Why? Because as kids, we're developed not to be ourselves, but to behave a certain way and to receive a certain reward or a certain result or to receive a reward or have a certain result for how we behave. And there's a fine line because our behavior is what's tolerable or not. Can you be tolerated with the way you behave? So The mask that we put on to go into the commonality is, how can I wear this mask, and at what point do I have to stop being a certain, or stop behaving a certain way, to where everything is going to still operate and keep me cool. Sometimes our behaviors was designed to keep us out of certain situations. Like, people be thinking like, yo, sometimes the hood is like, you can take the man out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the man. And that's the truth. But the man sometimes can take the hood out of himself, or the woman, you can take the hood out of herself. But it's not about forgetting your roots, but it's about understanding that certain behavior is designed to keep you out of certain places. You feel me? This shit ties in. Because when we look at employers saying, if the name was a certain way, I'm not going to hire them. That's a part of behavior, because it's an extension of culture. Your parents decided to name you that. Do you be ashamed of it? How do you behave according to, and so it's like, as Black people, we behave we behave in such a tamed way that we can't be ourselves. You feel me? That's why we got a code switch. This is why we're one way and then the other way, and then we think, but then sometimes some motherfucker just deep into the pit. You feel me? But at the same time, it's like, are we innately like that? I get it that we got soul, we got culture, we got essence. Can't take that away. But does our essence have to always manifest a certain way? No. And the reason why it does manifest a certain way is because we're caught up in a cultural system and a cultural construct that creates a certain commonality to make it easy to identify. Stereotypes are what they are because they are stereotypes, because they are based off of the commonality of fitting in. You know how many Black people say certain motherfuckers ain't Black because they don't, like, because I don't do stupid shit. Like, when I grew up, motherfuckers used to be like, yo, you talk white. No, bitch, I articulate. I use the whole fucking word. I'm not supposed to. And I get it. We have our cultural dialect, and this is not just from this language and shit like that, but our cultural dialect is naturally like that. Like, we, this, whatever language, we make it our own. You feel me? Whether that be French and developing a patois, Creole, and, Spanglish, Ebonics. And how dare you motherfuckers change the name of Ebonics? How y'all let the motherfuckers change the name of Ebonics? African American Vernacular English? No, bitch. Who the fuck put that many letters to the shit? You feel me? How did we create? How the fuck they keep gentrifying what the fuck we create? We called the shit Ebonics. It's not Ebonics. It's African. Like, bitch, we've been calling it Ebonics since we started calling it Ebonics. Now we got a technical term for it. No, bitch, call it what it is. It's Ebonics. That's our shit. Keep the name on it. Keep the name on our shit. But I digress. Let me get back on topic. Sip my tea a little bit. But yeah, that was a tangent. I digress, man. That was a tangent because that shit pissed me off. But what I'm speaking on is about the commonalities, right? So when we get those motions where you can stand out, it's like, and as people, what we had to learn to do as Black people is to stand out in the sense that we fit in the commonality. You feel what I'm saying? Be able to be relatable to certain things, but it's like, I don't affiliate with that because I got to see bigger pictures of things. And that's one of the things is like, when you have a certain quote unquote allegiance to a thing, another thing they had us doing as kids, pledging allegiance to shit. Like, the fuck, why the fuck you got a child pledging some allegiance? That's some communist Nazi Germany type shit. Your child has to pledge allegiance to a flag? The fuck? No wonder they separate church and state, because either you're going to pledge allegiance to the flag or you're going to be loyal to your deity. You can't be both. You feel me? But that's a whole different topic. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSeen.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSeen.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. Let me circle it back. Let me circle it back into the cultural structure. So it's like when you're able to be common in that sense, when you're comfortable being common, you're cool. You's a cool motherfucker. You's a cool motherfucker. You do what everybody else do. Like, this is one of the reasons why So Frail, like, this is one of the reasons why So Frail hit so hard. Like, motherfuckers be like, the women get it. The women that read the book is like, I can see that same standard and template in all black men. Because it's in us. It's in us. Some of us exhibit it, some of us don't. But it's different dynamics. But it's like, this is the commonality. Because this is what makes us cool. Damn, that's a bar. But this is what makes us cool. You feel me? One of the two of being overly aggressive. The shit's cool as a kid. And that's the problem because it's so cool when we're children. Now everybody has a problem with it. Now that we adults and shit, it's like, why my relationships don't work? It's because I'm a fuck boy. I'm this and the third. Everybody was cool. Like, you know how many women I got off the strength that I had other women? Not even because I was handsome or no shit like that, but I literally pulled women off of the strength that I got other women. I've heard women say shit like, yo, don't no woman want a man that don't know other men want, don't know other women want. Okay, genius logic. I guess now you got to deal with being a side piece. Like, that's your programming and that's what you like. The fuck. But it ties into what we're doing here because that standing out part is hard. Because now when we do stand out and why can't I find that one man who's this, that, and the third? Or why can't I find that one woman who's just like, she's not like this? But look at the mold. Everybody's ideal significant other is not themselves. You feel me? Every time, I hear people talk about like, yo, it's a desire. They like, I want this type of man or I want this type of woman and shit. And it's like, they got to be this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. It's like, why can't they just be themselves? And we wonder why motherfuckers lie. We learn to lie from kids. Lying is an extension of behavior, bro. If your behavior, you lie when you exhibit a behavior that conflicts with a certain reality, right? And you know that I can't exhibit this behavior. So I'm a lie. Your behavior, the consequences to your behavior teaches you how to lie. You feel me? Especially when you want to continue to be yourself. You can't be yourself and tell the truth in a world where you got to conform. You just can't. It don't work because, oh, this is going to offend somebody. This is going to make somebody feel a certain way. I don't give a fuck. That's how you got to look at it. That's really how you got to look at it. And Pablo Escobar, I'm getting back on track, but this makes sense. Pablo Escobar once said, you only lie to people you fear. Motherfuckers may not be scared of motherfuckers, but they fear them enough to where I got to lie. You know what I'm saying? I had a girlfriend once tell me, she was like, I told her I didn't lie in the moment. I just withheld information. She said, that's still lying. Changed my whole perspective on the shit. I was like, But at the same time, when we look at the grand scheme of it all, we all lie. Which is ironic because if that is a 10 commandment, nigga, we all going to hell. Oh, because there ain't no magnitude for sin. I don't know why y'all motherfuckers believe it is. It don't say that shit, but there's supposed to be no magnitude for sin. So a lie is a lie. I don't give a fuck if you try to replace it. I didn't lie. I told a story. Okay, motherfucker. You're living a lie because you're wearing a mask that has to conform to a certain thing. Who are you when the lights are out? Who are you when you're home alone? That's who you're supposed to be to the world. You feel me? Motherfuckers even lie to their deities. Like, for real. Motherfucker, like, I be having motherfuckers tell me shit like, he knows my heart. That should scare your goofy ass. Like, you feel what I'm saying? You think because you go to church on Sunday and then the other 6 days, oh, he knows your heart? Exactly. He does. He knows your heart and he knows you're a liar. Because if he knows your heart, but your reality ain't in line with your heart, you're lying. Because you have to behave a certain way. Because society makes you makes you do that in order to be common, to be cool, to be in. You feel what I'm saying? When you look at what somebody's selection is for a relationship, it's bam, 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 bam. It's a list of fucking attributes. Nobody ever just says, yo, be yourself. I just need you to be yourself. That shit hard. That shit hard as fuck to be yourself. Because now it's like, okay, I could fuck with you being, but then now when I bring you around my family, now when you bring me around my friends, now when I bring you around this person, that person, like, damn, can you being yourself really? It's like, yo, are you comfortable? Do I appeal to you? Fuck them. You feel me? I'm not saying fuck them, well, I say respectfully. You feel me? But at the same time, I got to be myself all day long. And people love people who can be themselves, but they hate it at the same time. Jealousy. Drake said it. Shout to Drizzy. Jealousy is love and hate at the same time. Motherfuckers will love that you can be yourself and hate that you can be yourself because they can't be themselves, but they want to be themselves. You feel what I mean? I've experienced so many different situations where motherfuckers look at me crazy. It's like, why the fuck you say it? Cause that's me, bro. It's what I chose to fucking do. You feel me? I lived 25 years of my life. 25, that's half a century. I lived 25 years of my life being and behaving a way that made everybody comfortable. The way that made me cool. You feel what I'm saying? But I limited myself the entire time. But when I started being myself and shit, I became cooler. But I was only fucking with people that could be fucked with as I'm being my authentic self. You feel me? And so now it's like meeting people like that. That was one of the biggest things about my social media from that perspective of the old Instagram page. Like, just saying, people be like, why? I'm like, yo, it's definitely nothing less, but it's always more. Oh, now you're more than just saying. No, I'm really just saying, like, that's it. Like, you feel me? It's like, now you so much more. I know that, but what I'm saying is I'm me. That's the whole premise of what I mean, but what I meant by that. I'm me. Like, I don't want to be like, I can't, like, I'm gonna piss you off. I'm gonna say something that doesn't align with you. I'm gonna say something that you align with. I'm gonna be in every realm possible that you could think of if you come into my space. Because this is me. You feel what I'm saying? This is me. And this is one of the things that I want to encourage people to do. Be themselves. That's hard because outside of the social media shit, outside of all of this shit, I'm like, I got to be able to be comfortable with myself. Fuck everybody else. I was born alone. I'm going to die alone. Like, I don't know, ominous type shit, but it's like, I'm going to say it like this. You're the only person that's been with you for every single second of your life. How the fuck don't you know who you are? How the fuck don't you know how you operate? And why in the fuck can you not operate that way? Tasty. I'm going to tell you why. Because society doesn't accept individuals. You feel me? It accepts organizations. It accepts cliques. It accepts posses. It accepts sets. Everything has to be, okay, where do I fit? Now, here's where it gets amazing. Because it's like, who created the individual custom? You feel me? Who created the commonality? Because that's the motherfucker you should strive to be. That's who you really are. You're the creator. Like, we tell everybody love to say, yo, I was created in the image of a creator. then create some shit. Create a world. Create your own little world for yourself. You know why you can't do that? Because then you're going to be called a cult leader. Then you're going to be called this, that, and the third. Now, those are real things. But those things operate from the perspective of I'm taking the commonality and I'm captivating everybody with it. I know shit motherfuckers don't know. So I'm going to sprinkle little shit that you don't know and create a cult around it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the 48 laws of power. Create a cult-like following, right? But here's the thing, at least have integrity with it. Like that's one of the things everybody talk about reading these 48 laws of power. You got to know them and apply them as yourself. Not as another motherfucker. You feel me? When that little conscious community pocket came out, when the black woman is God thing was there, nobody was an individual with it. Nobody was original. Everybody did the same shit off of the same message. Then the bull, what's his name? Fucking was it Nature Boy or some shit like that? He got motherfuckers to up and leave the country to go to Mexico to do some nigga. I said, how the fuck y'all let him do that? You feel me? Because he created a cult-like following, but he still fit within the commonality. He had not defined himself. He had aligned himself with something. Oh, that's a fucking bar. A lot of motherfuckers don't define themselves. They align themselves. And they align themselves so well that he think it's they shit. Like it's like, I'm not, no. Because now all of the fallout is happening now. A lot of these dudes that was on some black woman that you finding out, you feel me? They've been messing with little baby girls and shit. Motherfuckers dragging their girlfriends out their house and shit. Baby mamas, wait a minute, bro. Like, what in the fuck? And then now it's like, y'all was doing this all for the black community, black people. And it's like, okay, now I don't want to fuck with it no more. That ties into another aspect because we don't equate success and prosperity with blackness anymore. You feel me? It's like, oh, I gotta lead the hood. I gotta lead this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cool. By all means, lead the hood. It's a motherfucker from the hood. Lead that motherfucker. Like, you feel me? But at the same time, don't turn your back on your people. You can leave the hood because that's a mental state. That is a place that is like, but don't deny your people, your essence, who you are, your melanin. Like, don't deny that. But that's what turns out, and that's what happens. It's hard to, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, my people they not paying. Like, yo, see, you got to put yourself in a position, you know, where you can still compensate yourself without the need for your people, or what you're giving them fulfills the need. A lot of motherfuckers just, you know, I'm gonna drop knowledge all fucking day long, and it capitalizes on pertaining to a culture. Here's what I mean by that, or a commonality. So the whole era of, you know, dropping knowledge, it was cool. I was involved in this shit. I dropped knowledge for the sole fact that I love this shit. So where the issue would come in is that the people that was dropping the knowledge, they were ensuring and intending to drop knowledge to people that they know would not accumulate. You feel what I mean? I was the type of motherfucker that if I gain something, I'm gonna show you. When you want to discuss it, I'm gonna talk to you about it. I'm not gonna, and I will always pay attention to how these motherfuckers will be like, yo, you got Google on your phone. Like, I used to, like, I love this shit so much. It wasn't, I love learning. So it wasn't about just disseminating information. Only the motherfuckers who I knew would not go research. That's a plot twist for your ass right there. I would look at motherfuckers who were like, yo, study astrology. Like, yo, what book did you read? They would send me a link to a fucking natal chart. The fuck? Like, no, I want to learn how to do astrology. So I couldn't talk to people like that. Now, this is when I started to pay attention to how commonalities and shit work. And it's like, when you that motherfucker who's not trying to fit into the common mold, it's like people would feel like I knew people that was into astrology. And when I got into astrology and shit, it was like, you know, it started off where it was all them and I'm asking them questions, but I'm like, so what books? Like, I'm learning it. And then when I started learning it better. Then we stopped fucking with each other like that. It's like, damn, the goal, like, I thought the goal was to educate one another. It wasn't to, you know, but it was to have the power. It was to have the power. The thing about The thing about the way society works, and when you fit into something, you're powerless. You're lost in it. You dissolve into it when you fit into the mold, because who molded it? That is who's going to have power over you. That is where the power comes from. That is what you're powerless to. One thing that I always say is like, this is why the slogan is peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. The specific point of knowledge, because I know that knowledge is power, especially the application of it. But he or she who has more knowledge than you has more power than you, because they can apply shit that you can't apply. You have to become dependent on them. I vow to never let that be me. So I learned the things that I learned to absolve myself from needing to be. But in that, because of that, I don't have to fit in. When I've learned that when I've learned about knowledge seekers and people that are, become authentically themselves, like the people that go down the rabbit holes for all aspects of life. The weird motherfuckers, the people that they call weird, are the sanest motherfuckers in this world. You feel me? It's the normal motherfuckers. It's the cool motherfuckers that are fucking insane like a motherfucker. Want to know how you insane? Check this out. I'm gonna show you right now if you did how you gonna be insane just off a relationship aspect. I'm not calling you crazy, but you're insane like a motherfucker. So Pete, you have a type. You have a relationship type that you like and likes you back. I like this, I like that. But you cannot have a healthy relationship with that type. You're insane to continue to fuck with that type. And we be wanting our types to do right, but we're typing shit that ain't gonna do us right. Tying it back to So Frail. This is why I wrote the bitch. You feel me? Because there is a commonality of what we fit into. So Frail was to show that there's a deviation from what we think a man is, what we think a black man is. But to show you the deviation, it's like you got to see all of the layers, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Because we thinking, why are men like this? Oh, it's deep. It's deep. We have been conformed into finding the commonality. Like emasculation is real. People think emasculation is simply, oh, you acting like a woman. No, that's a final byproduct. And that's probably only like 2% of the full dynamic of what it is to emasculate a motherfucker. You feel me? If masculinity is a spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction, to emasculate somebody means that you have taken away their capacity to analyze and deconstruct the world mentally, physically, and spiritually. And women be wondering why they got to take care of men. Women be wondering why can't you just be a man and just like, I don't have the capacity to analyze and deconstruct. I'm emasculated. Y'all be thinking this, like motherfuckers really think that it's just limited to the fact that men are, acting like women. And they think, I'm not going to say, because they masculinize women, but I'm going to say effeminize women. Femininity is the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of synthesis and construction, right? Creating shit. Women been effeminized or effeminated, whatever, how we're going to look at it, like a motherfucker, right? So much so that they don't know. And people be thinking this, oh, she's not womanly. Like, no, women be like, I got to get out of my masculine energy because they think they're acting like men. No, you're not. That is a whole different dynamic. That is, again, about 2% of the shit. You don't have the ability to create shit anymore. Outside of the physical shit where you're just making babies and shit, like you don't have the ability to create. You have been in a position where you focus on analyzing and deconstructing shit. That's not what the fuck y'all supposed to be doing. But again, strong, independent black woman. That was a common thing. You feel what I'm saying? So common and shit. It's like, I don't need a man and blah, 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 blah. You created that realm. We created, and now this is when the two dynamics of the culture created this. You feel me? Because this is what became cool. A strong, independent woman was cool. Strong, independent woman was cool. You feel me? The ladies, man, the motherfucker like the fuck boy, quote unquote, was cool. What happens when these two things merge? You get the relationship dynamic we have right now. You feel me? But all this is because motherfuckers like dudes really be liking women. Women really be liking men. But we can't even be in a space to actually admit that shit simply because society won't let us. Because we have conformed into a commonality. When you really believe that all niggas ain't shit. So you have to pick from the list of ain't shit niggas. Which in turn is going to create a reverberation for niggas to not be shit. Because I got to get the women. Women only fuck with dudes who treat them like shit. Because they feel like they can change them. They can get this epiphany. Poof, I'm going to do them. And it's not until we get older, 30, 40, 50 years old, we realize that shit didn't work. It's too late now. It's too fucking late now. You feel what I'm saying? Because us as men, we're developing from the perspective of don't treat these hoes like these, man, fuck these hoes. Right? So the women get with the men who think like that. Now, at the core of it, none of us think like that. How you know is when you develop your reality as a kid and you see in yourself like we naturally like women. We naturally like the girls with all of that shit. But when we start to lose that reality, first time we lose it is when we get called a mama's boy. That's the first expression. It's first expression that we have of a woman. Our mamas. But then again, now you have to tie that into it. How is the relationship dynamic with your mama? Now we're going to flip it, go to the other side. So yeah, mama's boys and daddy's little girls. Daddy's little girls are approved. Mama's boys are not. Why? Fucking why? Because when you disrespect the creatress, the creator, when you have a disrespectful perspective of the creatress, you can only destroy through creation. You feel what I'm saying? Men are the creators, women are the creatress or the creatrix. You feel what I'm saying? What that means is, but the two have to go. You need the medium. It ain't no different than a seed in the soil or however. Look, I'm just using creator and creatrix. But anywho, when you have a misappropriated understanding of the creatrix, who has a positive perspective of the creator, it's basic math. If you take a negative and a positive, they're going to neutralize each other out. From an addition perspective, they'll neutralize each other depending on which one has more power. From a multiplication perspective, they're always going to be negative. So how do you multiply with something that perceives like that? Because the commonality is what makes it cool. I like how I segue this shit back into the whole part of it. But anyway, I'm gonna finish this up and we're gonna keep it going. But when men, we're perceived from a perspective of women, like we start off with, oh, you a mama's boy. We view that as a bad thing. Hell yeah, I love my mama. Why wouldn't I? But now you have to start creating the very thing to make you disconnect from the first feminine source you've ever experienced. While women are taught to connect to the very source of the creator aspect, which is their father. You dig what I mean? It's why daddy's girls are so approved, but mama's boys are taboo. What happens when you grow up and the one who was shunned for being a mama's boy meets the woman who was praised for being daddy's girl? Right? They meet. Daddy's a rolling stone now. Here's why men don't get it. Men don't be like, why does it take you to have a daughter to realize that women have importance? Because they shut the shit down when I was a kid. They told me my mama wasn't shit. You feel me? They ain't necessarily say my mama wasn't shit, but you feel what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yo, you're a mama's boy. Stop it. Like, yo, you supposed, and they wonder why you grow up a cold, heartless monster and you don't give a fuck about women. Now you couple it into the fact that we have generations of motherfuckers growing up with strong, independent women. They're raising softer sons, which is ironic. Because how are you so tough and strong, but now your son is, you feel me? What happened? We conformed into a reality because that's what the fuck was cool. When I was a kid, growing up looking at the images of men, it was motherfuckers with muscles, they shirt off, and you know what I'm saying? Multiple women all the time, money, cars, clothes, and hoes, all of that shit. I ain't seen no motherfucking respectable, reputable motherfucking men that were still good. You feel me? That wasn't the commonality. You feel me? That's not what women said they liked. So I ultimately become that shit. Off the same side of that, women don't like good, upstanding dudes. Not at a young age. You feel me? So you gotta find out. Like, I didn't like the nerd, but then they like the nerd when it's like, yo, man, I'm like, that's why it's like, I don't know. Maybe the universe just put me here to be a common, like a middle child of all things, because it's like I have dynamics and aspects and understand both sides of the shit. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like when dudes be like, yo, they didn't like the nerds. Yes, they did. They didn't like corny nerds. But then it's like, yo, were you really corny? Or were you just uncommon? You feel me? Like having so many different well-rounded perspectives that drive you crazy over time, but you feel me? You don't go insane. But it'll put you in a perspective where it's like you see you see the world. You see the world as it is. You don't see it from a societal point. You see it from a humanity point. You feel what I'm saying? And when you see the humanity point, you realize how fucked up society really is. And how everything is based off of clicks. Everything is based off of being cool or trying to fit into a mold to be popular or some shit. Be a celebrity, be all of these things. Fuck that goofy shit. You feel what I'm saying? It's what everybody else feels like they can be. That's why when they tell you, you grow up, you can be anything you want to be. Again, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody ever says themselves. I've heard it all. Like I've heard like motherfuckers say they want to be a Ninja Turtle. I heard motherfuckers say they want to be a Power Ranger. So many different things. Not many people want to be themselves. I asked this on a social media one time, and one of my homeboys, he responded. He was like, "Damn, I'm gonna ask my kids that." I was like, because I think the post that I made was like, rather than asking your kids what do they want to be when they grow up, ask them who they are right now. And it was just like, I never thought to ask that. None of us do. You know why? Because we never heard it. We didn't grow up asking, who are you? We've heard, who do you think you are, in condescending tones of, you feel me? And so then that makes us have to get like, crazy. Like when they asked Kanye, they were like, he just, and they said, yo, who do you think? I just told you, a God. You feel me? And that's reality. But it's like, when you really sit and ask your child, who are they? Because honestly, that's the quest that we're on in this world. It's not to conform. It's not to be cool. It's not to be popular. It's like to find out who the fuck you are. Not to become some shit and then you forget. Like imagine you living a whole life and then you forget who the fuck you were. Hey, look, man, y'all ain't got to believe in reincarnation. Y'all ain't got to understand half the shit that I be talking about sometimes. But you coming back to this motherfucker if you don't complete your mission. It's gonna reset the game. Start over, bro. You ain't gonna be you're gonna have to go down a different set of processes to do the shit. Like, because people don't understand, like, well, it's not that they don't understand, but it's like they fit within a mold that doesn't push them to that level. You feel what I'm saying? I tell you, if you really learn religion, you will really learn how closely parallel it is to astrology, numerology, esoteric magic, certain different things, and how certain things play themselves out that people don't see. You know why? Because the commonality is this is where we sit. You don't go above this. And this is what we're going to rock with. You feel me? The education system. You don't be smarter than the motherfucker. Like, the fuck? The teacher's supposed to pass the student. I'm not, like, you got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. Like, that's what pushing life is for. Life forward is. Like, you have to get beyond where you started. But the core of it is knowing who you are. Actually, like, knowing who we are or not knowing who we are so young, it makes it harder to see when you get older. You feel me? You know how much shit you got to uncover, how much therapy, how much counseling, how many layers of this onion you got to start to pull back, how many calluses you got to remove, how many walls you got to get through just to realize who you were. A lot of our inner children are sitting in a little cage right now crying in a fetal position. because they have yet to mature. Something traumatized us years ago. Something scared the shit out of your child, your inner child, so much more that they fell into the fetal position and never got out. You just kept putting on a bigger mask and a bigger mask and a stronger mask and moving into different places to be cool. Moving into places where you couldn't stand out, because to stand out, to stand out makes your inner child stand up. To stand out makes your inner child stand up. And if your inner child cannot stand up, your inner child is always in a fucked up situation. You'll never be in a space where you can comfortably stand in a conforming space. One of the things that they always say is like, this is an angry black person, angry black woman, or they're gonna say you're a problem, you're trouble in a group, or you're this, that, and the third. No, the fuck I'm not. I'm me. And y'all are mad that I'm not supposed to be that. Y'all want me to stay. That didn't come off right at all, but I'm gonna keep flowing the shit. Anyway, the group dynamic doesn't doesn't allow for the individuality of myself, let alone my culture. So I get into a space where I have to continually fit in to be cool or token in some regards, but it's about how common I can be. Ain't nothing common about me. Ain't nothing common about you. Ain't nothing common about anybody in this world. So why the fuck are we common? We find and we try to find, rather than being our true selves, we try to decorate. We're trying to decorate the commonality with with the piece of ourselves, a piece of who we are. That's what we really do. Low key, high key, mid key. That's what the fuck we're really doing. I didn't realize this until I was in college. You feel what I'm saying? Had I been able to develop into myself earlier, I wouldn't have needed to go to college. I wouldn't have went. You feel me? But I went because it was like, yo, this is what you do. But now I'm gonna decorate myself and declare a major. Then you complete the major and shit, and it's just like when it really dawned on me that this was bullshit, was when I didn't study through college. I didn't study till my senior year. And everybody would be looking like, yo, you graduated with honors and you didn't study? Yeah. And they're like, why you mad at that? Because I didn't try. I didn't try to do this shit. And the reason why I didn't try was because who I really am is a natural intellect, is a natural thinker. I can retain information very well. You feel me? It's crazy because my memory's trash. So try to get me to remember something, I might fuck up. But I retain information that I understand well. You feel what I'm saying? So when I looked at it, it's like, I didn't try because I didn't have to. So decorating myself in the comment, that created a level of arrogance for me. That when it was time for me to actually use my mind, when I stepped into it, when I started studying more, it's like, it was hard. It became hard because it was like that. People be thinking it is arrogance. I'm gonna say it like this. It is arrogance when you are so well at something and yet you don't try to do it, but you don't have to develop it because you're in a group of mediocre commonality. This ain't a shot towards anybody that does what they do. You feel me? But it's like, when you look at the 7 intelligences and shit, if you know what your intelligence is, you should be able to body at the highest capacity of your default intelligence. Naturally. You feel me? I have a logistic. I got all 7. I learned how to tap into all 7, but I think by preset, I'm logistic. I have the logistic intelligence. That's really what defines who I am. So anything that's logic based, oh, fuck, I don't have to try to do it. That's my default intelligence. You feel what I mean? That's my default intelligence. So when I said it became arrogant, because it would just be like, I didn't even have to try this shit. So you just become good at something. And that's a wasted talent. That's wasted because it's like, I don't got to try to be good, bro. So why try to be good? But it wasn't until I started doing things that actually challenged myself. School didn't challenge me. It wasn't until I became an entrepreneur and I was like, oh, I just can't get in here and just do shit no more. No, you can't. You have to learn. You have to learn. That was the first time in my life that I was ever challenged. You feel me? Because I had to break out of the commonality. Because sometimes that commonality is good for people who need to develop. What do you do when you don't? Or what do you do when you have transcended the development? You stay there. You feel me? Yeah, you stay there. Why? Because it's cool. Because it's fucking cool. Because it's popular. Everybody looks to you and shit. Big fish in a small motherfucking pond. That shit's cool as hell. You the popular motherfucker. Everybody gonna come look for you. Everybody gonna, you know what I mean? It's cool to be common. And it's common to be cool. But you know, the moment you deviate and shit, oh, that person's weird. That person, no, I'm me. I'm truly myself. And when you're able to stand out, motherfuckers flock to you a lot more. And in addition to motherfuckers flocking to you, it's not just anybody, it's the right people. See, when you in that commonality group, you got a whole bunch of motherfuckers who don't know who they are, who are trying to figure themselves out, magnetizing themselves to you. You feel me? But when you standing out, the right people come into your space because those are the people that's supposed to be there. You feel what I mean? And that's the best way of fitting in. You feel me? Because when you truly learn how to stand out, everybody be on your dick. Non-binary. Only because it's 2021 and shit. But yeah, everybody be on your dick. Straight like that. No ifs, ands, maybes about it, because you are that. And everybody wants to magnetize around it and follow what makes you and conform to the commonality that makes you fuckwittable. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that I've seen just developing social media pages. Like, that's why I hate social media now. Because while I'm doing my own thing, motherfuckers is getting, I want to do what you do. No, do you, bruh. Do you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do something that I do, learn it, do it, but do you, motherfucker. Like, do your thing. It's hard. It's hard to do your thing. That's why anything that can elevate the game or push the world or could change the world is an individual. It is unique. It is only one of a kind. The plot twist to this shit is that, come a little closer, listen. We're all one of a kind. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Yeah, honestly and truly, I ain't even gonna hold you, yo. I did not know this was gonna go this way, because I was really just gonna talk about mainly, you know, it's cool to be common, and you know, because kind of like I said, the conversation that I had, you know what I'm saying, I said something corny. I know it was corny, you know what I'm saying, but it flowed with the conversation, so it was placed properly, but it was still a corny thing. I think it was something from, it was like an old reference to some shit, but it fit. You feel me? So like, that was some corny shit. I know it was. And I was like, I think I said something like, I was like, yo, it definitely was corny, but I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it being corny. And it was like, that's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I look at just how life is. Like, one of the biggest reasons why people fail at life is because they scared to look stupid. They're scared to look stupid. And this is one of the parts I was supposed to put in the episode somewhere midway down. I don't know if I said it or not. I don't know. I'll be flowing, but I'll tie it in here on the outro and shit. But yeah, people scared to look stupid. You know why people scared to look stupid? Because the commonality isn't in it. You feel me? I was watching Dragon Ball Z and shit, and the old head said, he was like, he said, people are crazy until it works. After it works, they're geniuses. Real shit. Real shit. And that's the part about it. People are scared to look crazy to become a genius. People are literally scared to look crazy long enough just to tap into their genius. You feel me? I'm living proof of that shit. I am proof of that shit. I got so many people that are like, you know, why would you want to do trading? Why would you want to do investing? Why would you want to do this shit? That shit don't work. That's gambling. It's like, then when you see the process happening, you like, Yo, teach me how to do it. Nope. Go learn it yourself. Because I was crazy. I was crazy enough to believe in myself. I was crazy enough to know who the fuck I was. To know that this ain't hard for me. This is something that I can learn how to do and I can put in the work to get, good at. And then when you get good at it, that's when the crazy talk stops. I always knew you can do it. No, you didn't. And it's not that they don't believe in you. Let me add that part to it. Because a lot of us, we fail at shit and then, or we look like the commonality can't do it. That's what people, it's like, it's not you as a person. It's not you as like our ego, because it can be healthy or unhealthy, but we need our ego. Don't kill it. Please don't make it healthy. But our ego will hear directly that you're speaking to us, to who we are, which we have not really truly defined yet, and which we have not truly expressed. But we think they're speaking to who we are. No, they're speaking to the commonality we conform to. They're speaking to what made us cool. So when you tell somebody, I think I'm gonna do this, I don't think that's a good idea, because that niche, that clique, that shit that you're in can't do it. Simple. Because it requires certain things that are not found there. This is why when you grow, you leave shit alone. Shit gets left behind. You fuck up your own growth and you sabotage your own shit when you try to stay where you don't fit anymore. You feel me? When you do not fit in that shit no more, that's when you fail. That's when you lose. And when you conform to the motherfucker who's telling you, this don't work for your ass. This don't work for the shit that you find common within yourself. And that's fine, because that's for you. But we internalize that shit. And we take it as a direct attack. You feel me? And that can make us not succeed, because we are basing our reality off of the fact that somebody else spoke about the commonality that we live in, rather than the individual that they're talking to. They don't be hating. Like, not intentionally. They're not really speaking evil over you, or they're trying to downplay what you do or even doubt you. They're like, yo, you fit into this mold with me. I can't do this. The other motherfuckers in this mold can't do this. What makes you think you can do it? Crabs in a barrel. It's not that crabs in the barrel are like so bad. It's like, oh, they're gonna pull you down, all that shit. Let's look at it from a bigger perspective. This is a commonality. This is what's cool. Low key, nobody wants to admit this shit, but the barrel is cool. It's cool shit. It takes the motherfucker to say, I gotta get out of the barrel because I'm tired of being like you motherfuckers. But we're not tired of you being like us. So stay here. Don't leave us. Because now, when you leave the commonality, and you stop being cool or whatever, and you leave the commonality, you shed light on mediocrity. That's a bar, dog. That's a bar. When you leave commonality, you shed light on mediocrity. Motherfuckers hate acknowledging that, yo, they mediocre as hell. I know people who have told me shit like, I read books on investing and trading and doing all of these different things and blah, 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 blah. So why you ain't doing it yet? I've talked to people who say, yo, I want to write me a book, and whatever the case may be. It's like, why you ain't published one yet? I've spoken to people who have said, I want to create online courses and shit like this. Why you ain't do it yet? And I have to learn now. This is going to give me a new perspective to look at them differently, because I used to be cold and harsh, but now I have a different insight now, because I'm like, oh, it's not your fault. It's your commonality. You were cool. You want to be cool. You feel me? So when they say things like, it's not that easy, it's just that it is. It is. But I was shedding light to the mediocrity. I shattered the illusions of the excuses that they were making. You feel me? I broke down the walls of the shit that it can't be done, because it's deeper than, you can't, no, I was in the same swimming pool as you. I was in the same niche as you. I was in the same commonality as you, and I did it. Why can't you? Because then we have to accept that, yo, you tapped into who you were to do that. You're not going to do it if you're still trying to be what everybody else wants you to be. You feel me? It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be it if you're still trying to be cool. We created an entire system of the world where everybody wants to be cool, fit in. Only truly iconic motherfuckers dare to stand out and be themselves. And again, like I said, everybody's one of a kind. There is no special golden child. You're the golden child. You're it. Tag, motherfucker. You're the golden child that you seek. You're the golden child that think that which you believe, that what you feel like, oh, there's only one person, there's an anomaly, there's something. You're the anomaly. You're the fucking anomaly. Go figure. Yo, look in the tarot. Not you ain't gotta look at the tarot as a whole, because you can find this in religions and shit too, but look at the tree of life or look at the major arcana of tarot. The fool and the world or the universe. Those are the cards that are the same. People don't get that shit. But the major arcana of the tarot tying in with the tree of life is supposed to design you to realize that I am that I am. I know it can come off as blasphemous when you read in the context. You're like, oh, that was the name of God or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that's really not the name of God. But I ain't gonna get into that. I'm trying to stay focused. I am that I am. I am that I am. That's an anagram backwards and forward. And in comedic iconography, they call it nuke poo nuke. It means I am that I am. What that means is you have reached the full completion of who you are. Every religious story, every spiritual mythology, whatever, it teaches you the same shit. You have the deity comes down, and then you have the deity, you have the child of the deity, or whatever the case may be, a reflection. But that deity ultimately realized that the physical manifestation of the deity ultimately realized I'm still the deity. I'm still the higher self. I'm still like that is what the reality is. You get to a point where you know that you come from something, and then you realize that you're it. The very thing you need, when you know you need saving, right? You know something needs to save you. You know what needs to save you. You know what situation, okay, and my circumstance would change if I could just do this, if I could just do this, if I could just do this. You're the one who provides that to yourself. You know what it would take to save you, so save yourself. That's a fucked up reality, but when you live in it's not a fucked up reality, but when you live in that commonality, if everybody like, yo, who's gonna be the one to solve the problem? This is my problem to solve because this is my life. Like, you know what you need to get yourself out of a situation. You know what tools, you know what resources. Now you just have to put it all together and realize, damn, I'm the one who saved my situation. I'm the one who saved myself. You feel me? As the great Toni Morrison said, when you can't find the book that you want to read, you write it. Strip that detail and look at the principle of it. When you can't find what it is you need, you create it. You're creating the image of the creator, right? You have the power. You create it. Your mind tells you every single day you wake up and you know what you need. You know what you need to do for your life. You know what your life is missing. You know all of these things. You already have it defined out. I want to have $1 million. I want to do this. I want to do this. You have it fully mapped out. What the fuck you need for your life? Go get it. Go create it. Go make it happen. You have the power to do so. The thing is that you have the power to do so, not who you became, not who's cool, not who's popular, not who fits with the commonality. It's the motherfucker who's dared to make motherfuckers mediocre. It's the motherfucker who's dared to make the mediocrity shine because I'm breaking out of the commonality. You feel me? You're not just accepting what the commonality accepts as this is the way things are. No, you all have the same problem in your head that's saying, we don't like this. I don't like this particular thing. When you get to the point where you realize, I don't like this, I solved the problem for myself. This is not like you just pull it out of thin air. Yes, you're going to be guided to the right things, the right studies, the right lessons, and all of that shit. But it's you who has to go. You're the one. You feel me? You're the fucking one, dude. Don't ever forget that shit. But nah, for real though, it's you. You the motherfucker of the motherfuckers. You feel me? You the motherfucker who has to tweak and change your reality for yourself. Never forget that. You know what you need to get yourself out of your situation. The shit that you pray for, if I could just get $30 to the end of the week, go make $30 to the end of the week. If I could just have a second stream of income, go make a second stream of income. Standing around with motherfuckers who just want this shit but don't know how to bring it to reality, don't know how to accept and acknowledge that this is what I've done, this is what I'm gonna do, it's because they can't stand out. The motherfuckers who are able to stand out have broken from the crabs in the barrel. They have broken from the commonality. You feel me? Break from the shit. And dare. And the reason why it's hard is because like I'm gonna look stupid the first time I try this. Motherfuckers like got so used to looking cool, they scared to look stupid. I forgot the quote that I said that was so fire that was connected to this, but it's somewhere in the podcast. But anyway, I'm gonna listen to it again so I can have it written down because that shit was cold. It tied into this though. That's what it is. Something about the crazy and the genius. You get so wrapped up in looking crazy that you don't tap into your genius. Imagine that. You know how you're going to solve the problem. You know what you need. You know creativity and what things you need to be, but you're so intimidated. You're so scared that you're going to look crazy that you can't tap into your genius that's going to take you to that next level. You know why? Because you don't know how to fit. You don't know how to stand out because you're so busy fitting in. Stop. You know you're too big for that shit. You know you don't want to be in that shit no more. So cut it the fuck out. For real. And be you. You do not fit where you do not fit anywhere you did not create. We say it all the time. If God ain't in it, neither am I. If Allah ain't in it, neither am I. If insert all the other deities ain't in it, neither am I. But why is that deity in it? How do you know why that deity is in it? You feel me? Tap in. Because you got it. It's all in you. It's should you choose to accept who you are. Because who you are is telling you every day what you need to do to solve your problems. Who you are is telling you every day what you need to bring yourself out of a situation. However, you scared to look crazy for the sake of motherfuckers you surrounded with. Cut that shit the fuck out. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it there because this has already turned into another motivational speech and extra podcast. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And start allowing, if you can, as much as you can, finding out who your children are, not how they behave. Or not how they're willing to behave. I know some people say, I know my children. No, you know how your children behave. They don't do that at home. You're right. They don't do that at home because when they're at school, they're who they are. That's the first point when they got in there. That's where they're cultivating it. They're cultivating who they really are and finding it. It just doesn't have any guidance. Guidance was supposed to be at home. You feel me? Guidance was supposed to be at home. So tap into that so that way your kids, when they get older, they're not like us. Knowing that they're stuck in the cage. Knowing that they're stuck in the cage of commonality, but scared to get out of it. You feel me? That mediocrity is something else. Shining like the mediocrity is something else. I have so many motherfuckers who I do something or I say something, and they be like, damn, why you so loud? Why you this? I didn't do nothing. I just shine light on mediocrity because I refuse to accept the shit. You refuse to accept the shit too, but you just don't want to do nothing about it because you're going to look fucking crazy. You're going to feel like you looking stupid. Looking stupid and being stupid. Looking crazy and being crazy. Two totally different things. And it don't matter. Get out of that mentality and get out of that bullshit ass mindset that you have to create a certain image. You feel me? Within yourself. And don't let your babies do that shit too, because it's like when they gonna go through a midlife crisis at a lot younger age because they've been so used to behaving that they don't know how to be. You feel me? Don't kill your babies. Go kiss your babies and make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.